Ladies and gentlemen, thanks to attend 2021 IPEC-China Excipients Regulatory Communication Conference. This is Cissy Wang, IPEC-China Chair. I take this opportunity to introduce IPEC Federation, IPEC-China, and this series of sessions. IPEC Federation is composed of 5 independent regional industry associations located in US, Europe, Japan, China, and India. Creation of more regional affiliations is under consideration. IPEC Federation is a global umbrella organization of the regional associations for promoting the quality, safety of pharmaceutical excipients. We recognize the drug market is global, including excipient sourcing. The global supply chain safety communication platform is very important. IPEC is a unique organization and covers the makers, distributors, and users of excipients. We share the same quality and safety vision and represent one voice on common global excipient issues. It is better to monitor regulatory development from multiple perspectives and geographies. IPEC-China is one of 5 independent regional industry associations in IPEC Federation. And IPEC-China is a non-profit association representing makers, users, and distributors of pharmaceutical excipients in China. Our vision is better promote mutual understanding in China and abroad of regulation, and the quality and safety of pharmaceutical excipients, enhance cooperation and exchange among industry players, provide proposal, suggestions on related regulatory requirements to authorities, and develop a series of technical guidelines and standards to improve quality, standards, and safety of excipients. Drug safety is very significantly important in China. China drug policy is focused on 4 stricter guidelines on drug safety, including the stricter standards, the stricter supervision, the stricter punishment, and the stricter accountability to ensure the drug quality and protect public health. IPEC-China hopes to establish the communication bridge to better introduce China regulatory management, compliance requirements, and regulation developments for better protecting patients through global partnerships in the innovation and safe supply of pharmaceutical excipients. IPEC-China Excipients Regulatory Communication Conference will focus on 3 module sharing and have below hot topics. The first topic is focused on excipients regulatory landscape in China. Speaker is Julia Zhu, our director of IPEC-China. She is a senior RA manager from Carry, China. Second topic is full overview of China pharmaceutical excipient GMP. Speaker is Shen Gao, our chair for quality subcommittee. She is quality and regulatory manager from Raw Farm. The third topic is introduction to the excipient section of the China Pharmacopeia 2020. Speaker is Elly. She is our director of IPEC-China, and she is senior product regulatory expert from Dow China. The fourth topic is excipient changes management in China DMF framework and its technical requirements. Speaker Martin Tao, our director of IPEC-China. He is our manager from IFF. Last topic is related for practice on registration of pharmaceutical excipients in China. Speaker Florence Xu. She is our Director of IPEC-China, also is the Chair of Regulatory Affairs Subcommittee. She is from Calacan, China. Welcome to attend 2021 IPEC-China Excipients Regulatory Communication Conference. If you have any questions, welcome to contact IPEC-China for further discussion. Thanks for your attention. Let's begin. Thank you very much.
Hello, people online. Welcome to IPEC-China Excipient Regulatory Communication webinar. This webinar is led by IPEC-China, CPHI-China, PMAC, Water Export Connect. There are totally 3 sessions together, and we are trying to give you a big picture about China excipient regulations. Hope you all enjoy these 3 sessions. In the last session, the first session, China Pharmaceutical Excipient Regulation GMP framework has been presented by our great 3 speakers already. Hope you enjoyed it. And here are the 2 video links, just in case you haven't had a chance to watch the videos. Don't miss the great opportunity here. This is the second session. I'm going to give you an introduction to the excipient part of the Chinese Pharmacopeia 2020 edition. Let's call it CHP 2020 thereafter. Starting from my personal introduction, Elly Song Qianqian in Chinese. I'm IPEC-China Director, member of Regulatory Committee. I'm currently working in Dow Chemical China Company as Product Regulatory Specialist for pharmaceutical-related regulations, including excipient and API. To introduce pharmaceutical parts of CHP 2020 is also a big topic for me. So I'm trying to using the following 4 parts to give you a basic introduction. Part 1 is a general introduction on CHP 2020. Part 2 and Part 3 focus on 2 important documents. One is the general notice of CHP 2020. Another one is the general requirement of pharmaceutical excipients, 0251. In the last part, some useful information and web link will be presented to you for further learning by yourself. Without further ado, let's just jump right into the part 1, a general introduction on CHP 2020. Chinese Pharmacopeia Commission is a lead agency to compile CHP 2020 with many experts together. Starting from the background information, on July 2nd, 2020, the National Medical Products Administration, NMPA, and the National Health Commission, People's Republic of China announced the CHP 2020 edition. It is the 11th edition and has been officially implemented from December 30 last year. CHP 2020 is published in 4 volumes together, containing already more than 5,000 monographs already. The third point is very important. Chinese Pharmacopeia sets the standards codes to ensure drug quality, safe usage. It is a set of compulsory technical guidelines and statutory basis. It must be strictly abided by drug manufacturer in all aspects of drug research, production, operation, use, supervision, and management. Here comes the specific content for the 4 volumes I just mentioned. The first volume contains traditional Chinese medicine, including medical materials, herbal slice, vegetable oils, extract, formulations, and single flavor preparations, etc. The second volume consists of chemical drugs and antibiotics, biochem drugs, radioactive drugs, etc. The third volume contains biological products, including vaccines, serums, blood products, etc. And the fourth volume, volume 4, it mainly contains general chapter for pharmaceutical formulation, drugs, also general chapter for testing method guidelines, also the lead topic today, pharmaceutical excipient. All the information I presented today comes from pharmaceutical excipient part in volume 4. For the volume 4 of CHP 2020, it contains of 3 parts. One is the general notice. Second one is general technical requirements. And last is the specific monograph. For the general technical requirement, it contains of general chapters, guidelines, and for the general chapters, it includes the general chapter for drugs and general chapters for tax method, also other general requirements we are going to talk about today, such as the 0251. For the general notice, it contains 12 parts together and totally 33 articles. I will not go through them all. I just pick up 5 important articles together, but it doesn't mean the other articles are not important. In fact, the total 33 articles are equally important. The highlight 3 parts are the main target I will introduce in details together. They are general principle, general chapters, test method, and limit. Using a funny picture to introduce the GMP part for excipient and drug together. In the drug GMP article 110, it is stipulated that a proper operation procedure should be established, defining proper manners such as checking tests to verify the correctness of the identity of starting materials in each package, such as pharmaceutical excipient. So what is positions from CHP 2020 about the GMP? The grid monograph is specific for products manufactured in accordance with GMP requirements. It comes the general notice of CHP 2020 under the general principle Article 5. Any product that doesn't comply with GMP or contains unapproved additional substance, even though the final testing result comply with CHP or couldn't test additional substance or impurity, but it will still be treated that it couldn't meet CHP monograph. So it is very important articles we should be aware. Any products, the grade in the CHP manufacturers must meet the GMP requirement. And currently, drug company MH use some advantage technology to complete the GMP requirement required by the drug GMP in Article 110, such as Raman and NIR technology. Beyond the GMP topic, there are another 5 questions that always been asking internally or externally. So I use questionnaire and answer to introduce the general notice of CHP 2020 related with pharmaceutical excipient part. Question 1. Our excipient is not listed in current CHP. Does our company need to comply with the current CHP? And question 2. Our excipient is listed in current CHP. Does it mean we just need to comply with his monograph in CHP? Both questions are very common questions that we have been asking always. And in fact, all the answers you could find from the general notice. The answers is from the General Principle Article 3 under the General Notice. Of 4 drug standards consistence of the monograph and the referenced content of the general notice in specific monograph and also the general technical requirements. It is obvious that a full or complete drug standard contains 3 parts, not only the monograph, but also including the reference contents in the general notice in your monograph. Also include the general technical requirements, such as some general chapters and etc. But if the grid is not listed in CHP 2020, the general notice and the general technical requirement are also applicable. So that means even your product is not listed in CHP, but if your product is intended to use in pharmaceutical use application, the other general notice and general technical requirement are needed to be met. Question 3. What's the positions of guidelines in current CHP 2020? The answer comes from the Article 7 from the general notice under the subtitle of General Technical Requirements. Guidelines starting from the 9,000 and beyond are not mandatory technical guidelines, but recommended guidelines to improve the quality control level for drugs. Question 4. Does the excipients used in finished drug need to comply with the general requirement of pharmaceutical excipient 0251? Absolutely yes. It comes from the General Chapter's Article 8. Pharmaceutical excipients used by drug shall comply with relevant law, regulation, department regulation guidance, as well as the general requirements of pharmaceutical excipient 0251. The last question is about the test method. The test method internally is not consistent with is not the specific test method stipulated in CHP. Is it acceptable or not by China authority? The answers comes from the Article 21 in the test method and limit. All the grid monograph listed in CHP shall be tested in accordance with the stipulated method, and the adaptabilities should be also confirmed while testing. If other method used, the test method should be verified and compile with the test method stipulated in CHP, and then select the method according to the experimental result. But this is very important. The method prescribed in this edition of the pharmaceutical shall prevail. This means the CHP test method is the official test method to determine to conclude some conclusions if any conflicts between the company and between any conflict happened in future. So that's so much for general notice of CHP 2020 related with pharmaceutical excipient, using the Q&A template to try to give you a basic understanding of the requirement from the general notice on pharmaceutical excipient part 2. Then I will go into the part 3, general requirement for pharmaceutical. It is called 0251. It is actually no less than 2 pages. It is very short, so I'm trying to learn together with you by article one by one. Starting from definition is always important to the first step to learn about the pharmaceutical excipient. It refers to excipient activities used in producing, dispensing medicines that have been reasonably evaluated in the terms of safety, are generally included in drugs, but not active ingredients or precursors. Even as non-active substance, pharmaceutical have important functions such as failure, stability, solubility, and co-solvent, sustainer, and controlled release, which are important components that affect the quality, safety, and efficiency of the drug. So it is important to pay close attention to the safety of pharmaceutical excipients themselves, as well as the drug excipient interaction and their safety. It is a very clear definition that from CHP 2020, in addition to some simple definitions from the regulation or laws. So it is a good source for you to introduce about the definition from China about pharmaceutical excipient. Article 1. The pharmaceutical excipient used in production of pharmaceutical preparation shall meet the requirement for pharmaceutical purpose, and the production of the excipient should conform to the relevant drug management regulation. From this substance, it means the excipient production should also conform to the GMP requirement. Just pay attention. This is the source why GMP should be complied with for pharmaceutical excipient production. The last sentence is about the change management. The change request need be started and noticed in accordance with relevant regulation and technical guidelines. In the third session, for the webinar, we also have prepared some very useful and practical practice on how to manage about the change request for pharmaceutical excipient. Please stay tuned. Part of Article 4, the specification of the excipients may include two parts. One is item related with production, process, and safety, such as character, identification, test, assay, and so on. The other is functionality related characters, FRC, that affect the performance of the drug, such as granularity and viscosity, and so on. And part of the Article 4, the excipient should meet the requirement of the pharmaceutical drugs used. That means no surprise if you receive some additional requirement from the pharmaceutical drug companies that used your pharmaceutical excipient during the technical review with your excipient. Here is the legal supporting document. Just be aware that in addition to some regulatory requirements, you might need to meet the requirement from the drug companies that has already used your excipient. So when your product is used in different drugs, corresponding quality control strategy should be carried out according to the requirement of the pharmaceutical drugs. Also part of the Article 4, residue solvent of the pharmaceutical excipient, also including the microbial limit of the excipient should meet the requirement. It means if your pharmaceutical excipient used in some high-risk applications, such as injection, also other high-risk applications, in addition to the monograph, you must be compliant with. There are also other general chapters, you should pay attention. So I will not go through them in detail. You just be aware of it. Part of Article 5, the standards of excipient listed in CHP is just the basic standard for his quality control. If the corresponding monograph of CHP must be enforced for excipient when your company claims that your products should have conformed to CHP. So that means if your company claims that you are compliant with CHP already, the corresponding monograph of CHP must be informed and tested. After a full evaluation, the standards of pharmaceutical excipients listed in CHP shall be revised timely according to the quality characters of the excipient used in the market drugs. That means the monograph is not always constant. It should be revised in timely, and CHP Chinese Pharmacopeia Commission have already released the official channel on how to initiate the monograph revision. If you are interested, I will share you the useful web link for your further studying when you have a need to initiate the revision on the monograph you are interested. Also part of Article 5, if after research, if it is confirmed that the standards of pharmaceutical excipient listed in CHP cannot be fully applied to the safety, effectiveness, preparation requirement of a drug, although the specification of pharmaceutical excipient has not been listed in CHP, it doesn't mean you could not comply with CHP, but it actually means appropriate pharmaceutical excipient can be selected in the research of during the research of the pharmaceutical preparation and post-market change, and also corresponding internal control standard can be formulated. In addition, I just mentioned, if the monograph is not listed in CHP, some technical requirement and general chapters are also mandatory requirement to meet, even your products is not listed in CHP. Article 6 is about the packaging and labeling information, and all of us care about this part. The packaging or labeling of the pharmaceutical excipient should be marked the product name, specification, and storage requirement, etc. The information similar with pharmaceutical excipient and also specific content under the labeling item of each monograph, it shall be marked. And there are 4 options for your consideration. You could choose at least one of them. They are product label, packaging, quality standard, and or COA. Either one is okay for you to mark the similar information with pharmaceutical excipient, also the specific content under the labeling item of each monograph. For the functional related characters only involved in the labeling item, the test method and limit requirement shall be specified in the company COA or quality agreement between supplier and customer. So that's the 2 important documents I introduced in detail. They are general notice and general requirement for pharmaceutical excipient. It is obvious that they are very 2 important documents. And literally speaking, you could find almost all answers from the 2 documents. It is worth to rereading and I'm looking forward to talk with you if you have any question about today's presentation. In the last part, I'm trying to share with you some useful information and links. The first one is the ways to obtain the errata information of the CHP 2020 edition. And they have already published all the latest corrections about CHP 2020. The second one is the contact person for each grade monograph. I know for each company, they have their own interested monograph and grade. If you don't know how to contact with the officer CHP, it is a best way to contact. The contact person comes from the officers from the lab. They are take care of this grade and also to support you the CHP 2020 implementation in your daily work. If you have any question about the testing, about the testing method, or also including the limit, you could raise your question through the contact person. They will collect the information and also prepare for future monograph revision. But if you have the need to revise the monograph, you could also raise your request through the contact person or through the official channel that I just mentioned. A CHP Commission has already released the revision channel already. You could raise your revision request through the official channel too. Another is how to get the official release notice of CHP 2020. Here are two links from the National Medical Products Administration for your reference. Last but not least, and how to find which kind of grade are on the revision, especially on the monograph. Here are the links. That's so much for today, my sharing, and I still want to special thanks to IPEC-China President Wang Suming and steering team, also the CHP officer from Chen Lei and Shanghai Junshi Biological Engineer Technical Company. Also, thank you for your time to watch my video. Any question, if you have, contact IPEC-China Secretary or myself. IPEC-China contact information has been listed here. You could contact Wanchen Zhang by email. The third session is, I just mentioned, is practice sharing pharmaceutical excipient registration and change management. Please stay tuned. They are all valuable information we collected from the daily operation in our work. So much for today. Hope you enjoy watching my video. Thank you.